Are you thinking about moving to Vancouver, BC? You've been doing your research, you're going through these different cities, different suburbs, different neighborhoods, trying to figure out what the best neighborhood for your lifestyle would be. Well, this video is for you, and today we are going to be breaking down and taking a deep dive into the city, the suburb of Port Coquitlam. Now, Port Coquitlam is a very interesting, very special suburb in the sense that it hasn't gone through what many of the other big suburbs have gone through in terms of urbanization and redevelopment. There's a lot of special things about Port Coquitlam that many people don't know unless you've really spent a lot of time living in this area. And so today we're going to be breaking all of that down. I'm going to tell you everything you'll possibly need to know, all the little streets, all the neighborhoods, what neighborhoods could be a great fit for you, and what neighborhoods you definitely want to stay away from. And so make sure you watch all the way through so you don't miss out on what could be the perfect neighborhood, or the neighborhood that definitely won't work for you would be. So with that being said, let's get right into it. All right, so now that we're jumped into the map, we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna start zoomed out so I can show you the general location of Port Coquitlam compared to the other cities in Metro Vancouver. And then we're gonna zoom in and we're gonna get real detailed, real specific about even the tiniest, smallest little neighborhoods. That way you don't miss a thing. So here we go. So Port Coquitlam is east of Vancouver and east of Burnaby. It's located in the Tri-Cities, which the Tri-Cities includes Port Coquitlam, of course. It includes Coquitlam, as well as Port Moody over there. So right over here, this area is considered the Tri-Cities. Now, from Vancouver or Burnaby, you'd get to Coquitlam just through Highway 1. So if we take a quick zoom in, Highway 1 over here gets you from Vancouver through Burnaby all the way to the Tri-Cities. So if you get off Low Heat Highway here, that's the main into the Tri-Cities. On the other side, south of Port Coquitlam, this if you continue taking Highway 1, this leads you to the Fraser Valley, which you have Surrey, Langley, and then Abbotsford if you go even further down. So let's take a bit more of a zoom in. And so if you cross the bridge at the edge of Port Coquitlam here, where it ends over Pitt River, then you get to Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge, and onwards. But today we're going to focus on Port Coquitlam. So now that you have a general idea of where it's located, we're going to get more into the specifics. So as you can see, Port Coquitlam pretty much only borders Coquitlam, and we're not going to touch much on Coquitlam, but we are going to mention a few things. So if we start on the west end over here, if we start right at the border between Coquitlam and Port Coquitlam, I want to point out this section. This area here has a ton of plazas. So right up there, this is on the Coquitlam side, but there's Save On Foods, there's Chapters, you have Winners on this side. And just in here, there are a ton of stores, a ton of restaurants. There's some fast food, pharmacy, everything you could think of. And then on the Port Coquitlam side over here, this is what I really want to point out. There's a plaza here right now, Poco Place. There's Michael's. There's some restaurants here. There's a Korean grocery store. I believe this right here is an IHOP. And there are a few office buildings here right now. And then across the street from that, here you have some more food options, some more stores. There's the Dutch, there's a shoe store, and just I believe there's a bank, just stuff like that. But what I want to point out is that this area may be going through a redevelopment in the years to come. They have plans to tear this whole place down and renew it. So there's going to be new office buildings, maybe residential as well. New commercial retail space. So that's one thing I do want to point out. And the thing I mentioned in the intro about Port Coquitlam is that unlike a lot of the other suburbs, Port Coquitlam hasn't gone through a ton of the urbanization that, for example, Burnaby has seen. Even areas like Surrey, a lot of the big areas in Surrey, it's all filled with high rises now. And Port Coquitlam hasn't gone through that, and there's a reason which I will get to a bit later on when we touch on one of the buildings specifically. But let's move on. Let's go to the north side. So this right here, this is in Coquitlam. This is Burke Mountain, but I want to highlight Coast Meridian, which is a large road. It's the main one that goes from Coquitlam into Port Coquitlam. And so Coast Meridian right here, this is a pretty steep hill. So note that in the winter time, this could get pretty steep, and if there's ice on the ground, It could be kind of slippery. But the good thing about Port Coquitlam is the big higher slope comes on the northern side, so in the Coquitlam side. Down here in Port Coquitlam, the slope isn't that steep yet. So it kind of increases. This is still okay, a little steep, and then it gets steeper and steeper as you go up. Okay, so the first area we're going to highlight, we're going to go right into downtown Port Coquitlam. I'm going to get into what I mean by the lack of urbanization here, and the one thing I want to point out is in all of Port Coquitlam, there is one singular, just one residential high-rise building, and that is located right before you enter into downtown Port Coquitlam. And so the main road that gets into downtown Port Coquitlam is Shaughnessy Street right over here. So as you saw earlier from Coquitlam, if you get into Port Coquitlam and you turn right onto Shaughnessy, this is how you get into downtown Poco. As well, if you live a little more north in Coquitlam, or you're going from the northern end and you want to get into Port Coquitlam, David leads you right onto Shaughnessy. As you can see, it's extremely long. It goes all the way up here through a lot of Poco before you get into downtown Port Coquitlam. So in downtown Port Coquitlam, right over here, there is a high-rise building. Let's see if I can change it. We're gonna zoom in here. So right as you get off Low Heat Highway into Shaughnessy, right over here, this is the only high-rise residential tower in Port Coquitlam, which is pretty interesting, right? And then right across this whole plaza, there's a ton of things. You can see there's Anytime Fitness, there's a Shoppers Drug Mart, Starbucks. And so I always say that Port Coquitlam is the king of plazas, and that's because in Port Coquitlam, you're not gonna get those huge shopping centers, the more modern malls that you'll see in Burnaby, Vancouver, even its neighboring city like Coquitlam. What you'll get a lot of are these plazas. So I guess the good thing about living in this tower specifically is you won't have any other buildings blocking your view. So if you have one of the units that's looking north, you have the view of all the mountains and into Coquitlam, of course. Okay, so let's go back to the map view, and we're gonna go further along. So as we go deeper into downtown Poco here, this is just a super convenient, cozy, cute area. And the thing about Port Coquitlam is there's a lot of local businesses, a lot of mom and pop shops. So you have all these cute little restaurants, cafes, even markets. So City Avenue Market, it's less of the bigger chains in Port Coquitlam. You can find those for sure, but what they have a lot of are these smaller, singular, more market style grocery stores. And a spot that I personally love going to, this is, I think it's called Jimmy's Lunchbox. Right in the corner over here, it's, I think it's a fusion of Korean and breakfast food. So, I mean, they serve all meals, but I mainly go there for their breakfast. Their hash browns are absolutely delicious. So make sure, if you do get a chance, that's an area worth checking out. And speaking on development earlier on, I do want to highlight Port Coquitlam is definitely going through changes. They're going through a ton. They have a ton of things planned to redevelop, but just not into what you're seeing in a lot of the other places where they're leaning more towards the high-rise residential towers. So here in Port Coquitlam, you have some 4 to 6 story wood frame condos coming over here, all along this downtown Port Coquitlam area. And so that is, those are pretty interesting projects because you're, number one, in a great location. And the thing about being in downtown Port Coquitlam, when you think of downtown, you normally think of a lot of busy nightlife, stuff like that, but that's not what you get here in Port Coquitlam. Like I said, it's more of an older suburb. A lot of the population in Port Coquitlam, I'm assuming, is more of the multi-generational families. So you have a lot of older couples that, you know, every Sunday they have their routine of going to the same breakfast brunch spot. So you're not gonna get a lot of that, the busyness, the noise that you typically get from downtown areas. So let's switch back over. Like you see, Amigo Pancake. Actually, I just went to this spot 2 weeks ago for the first time actually. And yeah, it's a very nice place, very good prices for what you get. But all throughout this area, you have a lot of wood frame condos. So this area predominantly less single family homes, more wood frame condos. So if we zoom out a little bit, hey, real quick, we got a special gift for you. We've made a comprehensive relocation guide to Metro Vancouver that'll give you answers on where you should be looking, all in a single document. You'll find top cities and suburbs here and which one would be the best fit for you. You'll also immediately find information on the schools in each area. You'll find information about local attractions, shopping, dining, and lastly, a list of the highest potential markets where there is massive growth potential. And you can find all this by just following the link down below. And as always, feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns. I am here to be of service for any of you. I get people reaching out to me all the time about helping them with their move. So go ahead and reach out to me. We'll get the ball rolling and make sure you are more than well taken care of. Now, let's get back to the video. Another thing to mention is Port Coquitlam Community Center. So they went through a change a couple years ago. They really upgraded the Port Coquitlam Community Center, so now it's absolutely beautiful. They have all these different things. They have pickleball courts, they have basketball court, ice rink, gym, of course. Not exactly sure if they have a pool, but they have a lot going on there, and it's a great place because to live in downtown Port Coquitlam because it's super convenient. And then you're also very close to the Port Coquitlam West Coast Express. So for those of you that don't know, the West Coast Express is a train that takes you all the way. It can take you to Vancouver. So people that work in Vancouver, if you don't want to drive every day and have to deal with traffic, and we're gonna get to in a second the potential congestion area getting out of Port Coquitlam, then West Coast Express is a great option. And they've been thinking about this, discussing it, planning it for a long time, many years already, to bring the SkyTrain extension into Port Coquitlam. So they've been talking about that for years. When that'll happen exactly, who knows, but it is part of their official community plan. So they do have that in the works. And so what I was talking about in terms of the traffic congestion spot, Pitt River is what I'm looking for. So Pitt River, which it's the intersection of Shaughnessy, and it goes along, and this is the fastest route to take you to onto the highway. So if you want to go to Burnaby, if you want to go to Vancouver, this is the fastest route, or even Surrey in the Fraser Valley. So you take Pitt River Road and it would take you onto Low Heat Highway, which, as you saw earlier, that takes you right onto Highway 1. And so one thing to note is that right over here, before you get onto Low Heat Highway, before you turn left onto Low Heat Highway, there is a train track. And so if you get unlucky and you get stuck there, the train can run for 15 minutes. So one thing is, if you need to get somewhere by a certain time, you definitely want to budget that time in there in case you do hit the train. If you go more south, keep going down Shaughnessy into Maryhill and Lower Maryhill over there, that's where a lot of the residential, the single family detached homes are. So if we just change the view, you can see over here is where you have all the neighborhoods. You have a lot of schools here. So right away on the map, you can see you got the Citadel Middle School, you have Castle Park Elementary School. And so this whole area is super residential. You get a lot of the neighborhood feel here. So if you're looking for more of condos to live in, then that would be more downtown Port Coquitlam. And if you keep going down further south, that's where you get to the detached residential areas, like we just said. And then on the flip side of that, if you draw a straight line over here, you can see on the right side, this is all just industrial commercial space. As you see right there, we're going to get into that in just a second. And also, we're going to get to the northern side of Port Coquitlam right after this. And there's some cool spots that you really need to check out, which I'll point out. But to finish off on this side of Port Coquitlam, this is a lot of the industrial commercial area. They have a ton of factories over here. So, and also just a ginormous amount of train tracks. So right here, I don't even know how many lanes this is, but there are a ton of train tracks. So one thing to note is, if you do want to live somewhere that's quiet, maybe try avoiding the train tracks, because sometimes you can get some noise from that. Okay, so we covered the residential area, we covered the industrial commercial area, and just one last thing before we move on, I want to point out a pretty special little pub. So right over here, Cat and Fiddle Sports Bar and Restaurant. So this is one of the hot spots for local people. They love, even for people outside of Port Coquitlam, they love coming to Port Coquitlam just for Cat and Fiddle. This is a popular spot, and I have heard their wings are absolutely delicious. I'm yet to go there myself. I have planned with my friends multiple times, and we got a time and date set, but just never ended up going to Cat and Fiddle. But from what I hear, it's nothing but positive. So another spot on the list of restaurants to check out. I'm giving you guys all the food places. Maybe I should eat them myself first for Cat and Fiddle. Okay, so if we get to the northern side, we're gonna get to this little hotspot in just a second, but let's start a little more further up north. All right, so as we mentioned earlier, Coast Meridian, and then also as we mentioned earlier, the plazas. This road right here, first of all, I want to note that it is absolutely beautiful in the winter months. They put up these lights all throughout this street, and so when you're driving through, it's just an amazing Christmas feel just looking at the lights. Hopefully it's also snowing outside, hopefully not, depending if you like snow. But this whole road to the left and right, you have a lot of plazas. And if we zoom in a little bit, actually we're going to zoom out a little bit, you're going to see all the green spaces. So there are also a lot of parks and green spaces in Port Coquitlam. So there's Victoria Park, Chelsea Park, all these green spots that you see. There's a lot of greenery here. So if you have dogs, you like to take them on walks, or you have kids, you want to go to the park just to enjoy the sun in the summer times. Port Coquitlam has a lot of that, and even more schools, as you can see here. Here's another middle school, and then on Shaughnessy, where's Shaughnessy? Going into Port Coquitlam over here, there's like the middle school that we just mentioned. And then there's a special school down there that we're going to get to in a second. But I just want to highlight one of these parks. We're going to zoom in to give you a bit of a closer look. And we're going to highlight Evergreen Park. So this is an absolutely amazing park. We're going to do it. We're going to just drop the human here onto there so you can get a look for yourself. But look at that. Just a massive park with, you can see over there a baseball field. You have a huge green space. And there's more to this. There's a tennis court and stuff, which, let's see if we can get you to see that area. Okay, there you go, kind of. So there's more to this. There's a little playground area. There's a tennis court, like we said. There's a basketball court. So this is just an awesome spot. And this neighborhood, if you want that family-friendly, quiet neighborhood, this is a great spot to look into. A lot of the houses here are a little bit of older age, built more in between the 80s to 2000s, all the way in here, but they're absolutely in a very quiet location, very peaceful spot. And then also one thing I want to note in terms of the type of detached homes in Port Coquitlam, you are rarely, if not ever, going to see basements in these houses. And the reason for that is because much of Port Coquitlam is on a floodplain, and some areas are more severe than others. So you're unable to build beneath ground too much. And so you'll see a lot of 2-level homes here for their detached homes. And let me just, again, put a human on here so you can see, get a look for yourself. So this is pretty typical what you're gonna get in Port Coquitlam. So you have your 2-level home, but the great thing is you have a lot of space here, and prices in Port Coquitlam are definitely on the more affordable end relative to other areas, even its neighboring city like Coquitlam. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, I have some important things to note about this southern side of the northern side. We're gonna start with Terry Fox. So Terry Fox School, which is right over here. Terry Fox Secondary School. And if you guys do not know, Terry Fox is a historical figure in Canada. He battled cancer, had a prosthetic leg, and ran all throughout Canada raising money, raising awareness for cancer. And this is the school that he went to. And this is one of the neighborhoods I do want to highlight. Houses here are pretty large and you get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of space. And again, much like what we covered further up north, these neighborhoods up here by Evergreen Park, you get a similar idea here, but the houses are a little bit newer. So they're built, this is a bit of a newer community, and the houses here are a little bit nicer. And you get the 4,000 square feet homes in this area. So again, you know what, I'm gonna first of all just show you one of these homes at random. We're just gonna drop the little guy over here so you can take a look. Let's see if we can catch. So these are the detached homes, and some of these you get some pretty good backyard space. It's hard to see from the street, but this gives you an idea of the type, the style of home in this area compared to what we just covered up there in Evergreen Park. So this is a little more modern looking. They are built a little bit later on. There are a lot of detached single family homes here, but there are also a lot of townhouses. And then you have another beautiful park, Terry Fox Park. You have an outdoor hockey rink field, huge grass area that people play baseball, softball on, and then tennis court in there. The trees are kind of blocking it, but I think you get the idea. And then if we go a little bit further south, this is the area I want to point out. This is kind of the one-stop shop if you ever are looking to get any type of, whether it comes to food, comes to equipment, home materials, all that stuff you can get over here. Again, it's not like a more modern mall that you'll find in other areas, but it is a super convenient area with a lot of plazas. So this is a plaza here, there's another plaza here, another plaza here. So you can even see just from looking at it, if you're looking for food, Costco is right there, super convenient. There's a Costco gas station too. And this is actually where I go to get gas, because if you're a Costco member, you get the best gas prices here. And I believe some cards also give you cash back, which is awesome. But the thing with Costco, probably all Costco's, but this one, I do know you want to avoid going there on the weekends, especially weekend afternoons. It is incredibly insane. It is so busy. People there, it's like they change to a whole other person when it gets to Costco parking, and everyone's just fighting for spots. No one's as nice as Canadians are set out to be. So yeah, and then on the other side, there's a Save On Foods here. There's a few car dealers. There's Chipotle. There's I can't remember exactly what bank, either BMO or RBC. Dollar store, you got a liquor store, Home Depot, Value Village, H Mart, Canadian Tire, Scotiabank. The list goes on and on. PetSmart. So this whole area is your one-stop shop. If you ever need anything and you don't know where to find it, just take a minute, drive around this area, and I guarantee you'll find something. And then if we go here, this is a newer area as well. They have new commercial space over here. And so they've turned it into badminton, table tennis, as you can see. But there are plans for probably some open spaces for whatever you want to do. There's tag gymnastics. And yeah, so this whole area, this is just the area of convenience. And then if we go down Dominion, there's some townhomes right here. Carnoustie Golf Club. So if you live in one of these, you kind of have the whole golf course as your backyard. So which could be a nice view. You get the golf course, and if you look further north, you have the mountains, which is nice. But maybe you have to be careful of those slices on people's driver getting into your yard. Maybe something that you might have to be careful for. But Carnoustie Golf Course, as you can see, these are all the holes, 18-hole course. And honestly, if you're a golfer, it's a nice course. You get to practice hitting straight. All these are straight, but it gets kind of repetitive. I played there multiple times myself, and it's just a straight shot after straight shot going there, 2, 3, 4, back and forth. So there are definitely nicer golf courses out there, but it is convenient if you just want to hit some balls around and play for a pretty reasonable price. Go down Dominion over here onto Ranger Lane. A lot of my clients actually have shown interest in this area. We've taken a lot of people out here to look at. There's a condo right over here, wood frame condo, and then these are all a bunch of townhouses that are relatively newer built. So yeah, another nice little area over here. It's a very quiet area again. So if you are looking for, if you're looking to relocate, if you're looking to move from another part of Metro Vancouver, make sure you give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, however you want to reach me. We can break down these areas together and really find the most ideal neighborhood for you. So I will have as always, my information up there as well as down in the description. So don't hesitate to reach out. So that about sums up Port Coquitlam. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything important. And we covered this earlier, but if you continue taking Lougheed Highway over Pitt River, that's when you get into Pitt Meadows and Maple Ridge. Yeah, so I think that about covers everything. And make sure you drop a comment below. What area do you think, or what area do you like the most? What area which neighborhood could you see yourself living in? And also, if you are a local, what did I miss about Port Coquitlam that you feel like is important to share? So leave all that in the comment down below. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, like I just mentioned, I will have my contact information down in the description and up there. If you are thinking of making a move, make sure you reach out. I would love to be a resource for you, love to be a conduit of information to help you find the right place for you, and more importantly, what areas that you really want to stay away from. So with that being said, that's it for Port Coquitlam. If you want this deep dive into any other Metro Vancouver city or suburb, also drop that down in the comments below, and make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.